I am Jarvis, your storyteller. Welcome to the Science Fiction Exploration. If you like the story, please subscribe to our channel.
The quantum variance detector aboard the Horizon Seeker screamed to life, its alerts echoing through the bridge like a banshee's wail. Captain Elena Valdez's hands tightened around the command chair's armrests, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display before her. After 6 months of deep space exploration beyond Neptune's orbit, they'd finally found something that defied conventional physics. "Report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Lieutenant Raj Kumar's fingers danced across his console, the scientific officer's usual composure wavering as he analyzed the incoming data. "Captain, we're detecting quantum fluctuations unlike anything in our database. The energy signature suggests something's been watching us. Has been watching us for a very long time." The bridge fell silent, the only sound the persistent hum of the ship's engines and the rhythmic beeping of the variance detector. Elena rose from her chair, approaching the main viewport. The vast emptiness of space greeted her, but now, for the first time, she felt eyes upon them. Ancient eyes. "Show me the temporal analysis," she ordered, and Kumar projected a three-dimensional graph into the center of the bridge. The lines and patterns told a story that sent chills down Elena's spine, evidence of advanced technology operating in dimensions humanity had barely begun to theorize about. "These readings go back thousands of years," Kumar whispered, his voice filled with wonder and trepidation. "The signatures are everywhere, Earth, Mars, even Europa. We've never been alone. We just couldn't see them." The discovery sparked a frenzy of activity aboard the Horizon Seeker. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, their xenoarchaeologist, began correlating the quantum signatures with historical events, finding patterns that had been hidden in plain sight. Ancient megalithic structures, unexplained technological leaps, and mysterious disappearances throughout human history, all bore the same quantum fingerprint they now detected. "Look at this," Yuki announced during the emergency briefing, her holographic presentation showing overlapping patterns of quantum disturbances. "Every major advancement in human history coincides with peaks in these signatures. Someone has been guiding our development, nudging us forward." Elena felt the weight of command press down upon her shoulders. This discovery would change everything, humanity's understanding of its place in the universe, its history, its future. But as she studied the data, a more immediate concern emerged. "The signatures are getting stronger," she noted, pointing to recent readings. "They're not just watching anymore. They're preparing for something." As if in response to her observation, the ship's sensors detected a new anomaly. A crystalline object, no larger than a coffee cup, materialized on the bridge. It hovered in the air, emanating patterns of light that matched the quantum signatures they'd been tracking. Security Chief Nikolai Volkov moved to contain the object, but Elena raised her hand, stopping him. "No. This is first contact. This is what we've trained for." The crystal rotated slowly, projecting symbols onto the bridge walls, a language unlike any seen before, yet somehow familiar. "Dar." Tanaka's eyes widened as she began to recognize patterns. "Captain, these symbols, they're related to every ancient writing system on Earth. As if all human languages evolved from this." The crystal's light intensified, and a voice filled their minds, not sound, but pure thought translated into understanding. "You have finally noticed us. Good. There isn't much time left." Elena stepped forward, her heart racing but her voice firm. "Who are you?" "We are the Nixians. We have watched your kind grow from cave-dwelling hunters to star-reaching explorers. We have protected you from threats you could not comprehend. But now you must join us in the light, or darkness will consume all." The crystal pulsed with each thought word, its light casting shadows that seemed to move independently, as if they were glimpses into another dimension. Elena realized that humanity had just stepped onto a much larger stage, one where ancient forces moved in the shadows between realities. We need your help, the voice continued. And you need ours. The barriers between dimensions grow thin. What comes through them hungers for all life, in all realities. Kumar's console erupted with new alerts. Captain, quantum signatures are spiking across the solar system. Whatever's happening, it's happening now. Elena straightened her uniform, years of training and leadership crystallizing into this moment. Tell us what we need to know. Humanity stands ready. The crystal's light coalesced into a series of images, star maps, technological schematics, and warnings written in that ancient language that had seeded all human communication. The Nixians were offering humanity the keys to its survival, but more than that, they were offering partnership. As Elena began coordinating with Earth to prepare for what was coming, she realized that humanity's greatest test wasn't just about survival. It was about proving they deserved their place among the stars, about showing these ancient watchers that their faith in humanity hadn't been misplaced. The shadows were stirring, and within them, both allies and enemies awaited. Humanity's next chapter would be written not just in the stars, but in the spaces between them, where reality itself held secrets older than time. Dr. Marcus Joe hadn't slept in 3 days, but he barely noticed. The crystalline artifact from the Horizon Seeker had transformed his quantum physics lab at the Global Science Institute into a hub of frenzied activity. Holographic equations floated in the air around him, each one representing another piece of an impossible puzzle. The mathematics shouldn't work, he muttered, taking another sip of cold coffee. But they do. They absolutely do. The crystal had revealed patterns in quantum mechanics that contradicted everything humanity thought they knew about dimensional physics. But more importantly, it had shown them how to bridge the gap between realities. Scattered across his lab were prototypes of what he called the quantum bridge, devices that could pierce the veil between dimensions. His research partner, Dr. Olivia Chen, burst into the lab, her eyes wild with excitement. Marcus, the new calibrations worked. We're getting coherent signals from the shadow dimension. They rushed to the testing chamber where their latest prototype hummed with otherworldly energy. The quantum bridge, a maze of crystalline structures and advanced electronics, pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to echo the original artifact's glow. Begin recording, Marcus commanded as he initiated the communication sequence they developed. The device responded immediately, creating a stable field of quantum resonance that stretched between realities. The air shimmered, and suddenly they weren't alone in the lab. A figure composed of shifting shadows and crystalline fragments stood before them, a Nixian, manifesting fully in their reality for the first time. Well done, the being's thoughts echoed in their minds. You've accomplished in weeks what most species require centuries to achieve. Marcus stepped forward, his heart racing but his scientific curiosity overriding his fear. I'm Dr. Marcus Joe. The quantum signatures we decoded from your artifact suggested this might be possible, but we had to rewrite half of quantum theory to make it work. That is why we chose to reveal ourselves to your species, the Nixian projected. I am High Observer Kethriel. Your ability to make intuitive leaps, to see connections where others see only chaos, it's unique among the civilizations we've watched. Olivia was already recording readings from the quantum bridge, her instruments detecting patterns that defied conventional physics. The energy signature is stable, she reported. We could maintain this connection indefinitely. Kethriel's form shifted, displaying patterns that seemed to tell stories in light and shadow. Time grows short. The barriers between realities weaken. We need humanity's unique perspective if we are to survive what comes next. Security teams had gathered outside the lab, drawn by the unprecedented energy readings. Through the observation windows, military officials and government representatives watched in awe as humanity conducted its first official dimensional diplomatic exchange. The Vorax approach, Kethriel continued, sharing visions that made Marcus's head spin. He saw vast fleets moving through the spaces between spaces, consuming entire realities in their wake. They have devoured 12 dimensions before yours. We have held them back as long as we could, guiding your development, hoping you would reach this point before they arrived. Marcus gestured to his equations, to the quantum bridge they'd built. That's why you left us breadcrumbs. The artifact, the quantum signatures, you were testing us, seeing if we could make the leap. Yes, Kethriel confirmed. But you did more than just follow our path. You found ways to improve it, to see possibilities we had overlooked. The quantum bridge you've built isn't just a copy of our technology, it's an evolution of it. The implications hit Marcus like a physical force. Humanity wasn't just making first contact, they were being recruited for a war that spanned dimensions. A war they hadn't known existed until the Horizon Seeker detected those first quantum signatures. How long do we have? Olivia asked, her scientific detachment warring with the fear in her voice. Months, at most, Kethriel projected. But we haven't been idle. We've prepared repositories of knowledge, technology that can be adapted to work with human innovation. If you're willing to take the risk. Marcus looked at their quantum bridge, at the equations that had rewritten physics, at the being of shadow and crystal that represented humanity's first step into a much larger universe. Risk is what humans do best, he said. Especially when the alternative is extinction. The next weeks were a blur of activity. More quantum bridges were constructed, each one more stable than the last. The Global Science Institute became the headquarters for humanity's crash course in dimensional physics. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials from around the world gathered to prepare for a war unlike any humanity had faced before. Ambassador Jamal Patel was chosen to lead the diplomatic mission into the Nixian realm, while Marcus and Olivia worked to adapt their quantum bridge technology for defense purposes. Earth's military forces began training for combat in dimensions they couldn't even properly perceive yet. As Marcus watched humanity unite and adapt with unprecedented speed, he understood why the Nixians had chosen to reveal themselves now. Humans didn't just think outside the box, they questioned why the box existed in the first place. The Vorax won't expect this, he told Olivia as they prepared for another round of experiments. They're used to fighting species that follow logical progression of technological development. But humans? We take shortcuts, Olivia finished his thought. We make impossible leaps. We break rules we don't even understand yet. And as the quantum bridges hummed with activity, as humanity prepared to face an enemy that had devoured entire dimensions, Marcus realized that perhaps this was humanity's true purpose. Not just to survive, but to show the cosmos that sometimes the best way to face the impossible was to rewrite the rules of reality itself. Ambassador Jamal Patel stood at the threshold between dimensions, his breath caught in his throat as he gazed upon the Nixian homeworld. The crystalline structures before him defied Euclidean geometry, their surfaces reflecting light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Behind him, the quantum bridge hummed with Dr. Zhou's revolutionary technology, the only tether back to Earth's reality. Welcome, Ambassador, High Observer Kethriel's thoughts resonated directly in Jamal's mind. The Nixian's form shifted like liquid shadow, occasionally catching the strange light in ways that revealed intricate patterns beneath their surface. You are the first human to walk in our realm. Jamal's diplomatic training hadn't prepared him for this moment. How does one negotiate with beings that had watched humanity's entire history unfold? Yet the urgency in Kethriel's message to Earth left no room for protocol or ceremony. The Vorax approach, Kethriel projected, sharing visions that made Jamal's mind reel. He saw vast swarms of crystalline ships, each larger than Earth's largest cities, moving through the space between dimensions. They consumed everything in their path, matter, energy, even time itself. We've tracked their harvest patterns across 12 dimensions, Kethriel continued. Your reality is next. We've delayed them as long as possible, giving humanity time to advance, but we can no longer hold them back alone. In the distance, a massive structure caught Jamal's attention. It resembled a celestial observatory, but instead of looking at stars, it seemed to peer into different realities simultaneously. The technology was centuries beyond anything humanity possessed. "Show me," Jamal requested, steeling himself. "Show me what we're truly facing." The observatory's crystals aligned, and suddenly Jamal witnessed the fall of countless civilizations. The Vorax's feeding pattern was always the same. They would emerge from dimensional rifts, their ships reconfiguring reality itself around them. Worlds would be stripped of energy, their very atomic structures broken down and absorbed. Those who resisted were not killed but transformed, their consciousness twisted into new Vorax soldiers. "Your species has something we've rarely seen," Kethriel shared, a note of hope in the projected thoughts. "Adaptability. Creativity. The ability to make impossible leaps of logic that lead to breakthroughs. Dr. Zhou's quantum bridge is proof. You achieved in months what takes most species centuries." Jamal processed this information, his diplomatic mind already forming strategies. "You've been preparing us for this, haven't you? All those technological leaps in human history, they weren't random. You were guiding us toward this moment." "Yes," Kethriel admitted. "But what you did with that guidance was your own. We've seen species with far more advanced technology fall to the Vorax. Technology alone isn't enough. The spark of innovation, the will to defy impossible odds, these are humanity's true weapons." The observatory's crystals shifted again, showing Earth's solar system. Jamal watched in horror as dimensional weak points began to form, places where the barrier between realities was growing thin. The Vorax were already beginning their approach. "How long do we have?" Jamal asked, though he dreaded the answer. 3 of your months," Kethriel responded. "But we haven't been idle. Come, let me show you what we've prepared." They moved through the crystalline city, each step revealing new wonders and terrors. The Nixians had stockpiled weapons that could shatter dimensions, shields that could redirect the flow of time itself. But more importantly, they had developed technologies that could be merged with human innovation, if humanity was willing to take the risk. "Your quantum physicists theorized about dimensional anchors decades ago," Kethriel explained, showing Jamal a device that pulsed with possibilities. "But you never built them because your mathematics said they were impossible." "Sometimes, Ambassador, the impossible is simply waiting for someone brave enough to try." As they discussed strategy and shared technological insights, alerts suddenly blared through the crystalline city. The observatory sensors had detected something new. The Vorax were adapting their approach. They had sensed the quantum bridge, humanity's first step into dimensional science. "They know you're growing stronger," Kethriel's thoughts carried a mix of concern and pride. "They'll accelerate their plans. We must do the same." Jamal's mind raced with the implications. Earth's military forces would need to advance centuries in mere months. The political divisions that had plagued humanity would need to be set aside in favor of unified action. And somehow, he had to convince Earth's leaders to trust beings that had hidden in shadows for millennia. "There's something else you should know," Kethriel projected, leading Jamal to a sealed chamber. Inside, suspended in fields of pure possibility, were artifacts recovered from other realities, civilizations that had faced the Vorax and lost. Each defeat taught us something. Each loss made us stronger. But none of those civilizations had what humanity has, the ability to look into the darkness and see hope. Jamal straightened his shoulders, the weight of his species' future pressing down on him. "Then let's make sure we're the ones who finally stop them. Not just for Earth, but for every reality they've destroyed." As he prepared to return through the quantum bridge, carrying data crystals filled with Nixian knowledge and technology, Jamal realized that humanity's greatest challenge wasn't just learning to use these new weapons and defenses. It was proving that humanity could rise above its own shadows to face the darkness between dimensions. The storm was coming. But for the first time in 12 dimensions of history, the Vorax would face an enemy that refused to follow the rules of possibility. Humanity was about to show the cosmos why they had earned their place among the stars. Fleet Commander Diana Reyes stood in the war room of humanity's first dimensional defense station, watching holographic projections of Earth's combined fleet performing maneuvers that should have been impossible. 6 weeks of crashed technological development had transformed human spacecraft into hybrid marvels that straddled dimensions. "Status report on Project Shadowbreak," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of countless sleepless nights. The station's AI displayed the latest test results. Human ingenuity had taken the Nixian dimensional anchors and transformed them into something entirely new. Instead of just stabilizing reality against Vorax attacks, they could now redirect the energy of dimensional tears back at the enemy. They never expected this. Lieutenant Kumar's voice came through the quantum comm he'd transferred from the Horizon Seeker to lead the Theoretical Physics Division. The Vorax's own dimensional rifts becoming weapons against them? It defies their fundamental understanding of reality. Diana allowed herself a small smile. That was humanity's greatest strength, the ability to take established rules and break them in creative ways. The Nixians had provided the knowledge, but humans had twisted it into shapes that even their ancient allies hadn't imagined possible. "Commander," a voice interrupted. "High Observer Kethriel requests immediate conference." The Nixians' shadowy form materialized in the war room, their crystalline aspects reflecting the holographic displays. "The Vorax fleet has changed course. They're accelerating their approach. Our calculations indicate arrival in 15 days, not the 30 we predicted." Diana activated the tactical display, showing the positions of Earth's defensive forces. The lunar shipyards were working at full capacity, producing vessels that incorporated both human and Nixian technology. On Mars, quantum laboratories were perfecting weapons that could strike across dimensional boundaries. "Let them come," Diana declared. "Humanity has survived every challenge we've faced by adapting and overcoming. This will be no different." The tactical display shifted, showing the latest innovation from Dr. Zhou's team, the Dimensional Inversion Network. Unlike traditional defense systems that tried to stop enemy attacks, this one used the Vorax's own dimensional manipulation against them. Every attempt to break reality would strengthen Earth's defenses. "There's something you need to see," Kethriel projected, their thoughts tinged with amazement. The display changed to show recordings from reconnaissance probes. The Vorax fleet was massive, yes, but they were also changing their usual attack patterns. "They fear you. In 12 dimensions of conquest, they've never altered their approach. Until now." Diana studied the data, noting how the Vorax ships were clustering differently, creating new formations that suggested they were preparing for unexpected tactics. "They're learning," she observed. "Good. That means they can bleed." The next hours were a blur of activity. Earth's United Defense Forces ran combat simulations using scenarios that pushed the boundaries of physical law. Traditional military doctrine meant nothing when fighting an enemy that could attack from between moments of time. Dr. Zhou's voice came through the quantum comm, excitement barely contained. "Commander, we've done it. The quantum bridge technology isn't just for communication anymore. We can use it to predict where the Vorax will emerge before they actually do." Diana immediately grasped the implications. "We can strike them while they're between dimensions, when they're most vulnerable." She turned to Kethriel. "Is this possible? Has anyone ever attacked the Vorax during dimensional transit?" "No," Kethriel's thoughts carried both awe and concern. "The calculations required would be, the timing would need to be perfect. A millisecond too early or too late. Then it's a good thing humans are really good at impossible timing," Diana replied, remembering her days as a fighter pilot. "Get me every pilot who's ever threaded a needle at Mach 3. Every gamer who's mastered split-second timing. Every dock worker who's handled quantum unstable materials." The war room erupted into action as Diana's orders went out. Traditional military experience meant less than the ability to adapt and react with inhuman precision. Humanity was about to turn its perceived weaknesses into strengths. "Kethriel," Diana asked, watching the preparation unfold, "why didn't the Nixians ever try something like this?" The ancient being's form shifted thoughtfully. "We are bound by eons of knowledge, by understanding what is and isn't possible. Humanity, you see possibilities precisely because you don't know they're impossible." The next days were a frenzy of preparation. Earth's forces drilled in maneuvers that existed only in theory hours before they were attempted. The quantum bridges hummed with constant traffic as human and Nixian knowledge merged into something entirely new. Diana walked through the station's observation deck, watching Earth rotate slowly below. Soon, that view would be filled with battle. But unlike every other civilization the Vorax had consumed, humanity wasn't fighting just to survive. They were fighting to prove that the impossible was just another boundary to break. "All units, final status check," she commanded. The responses flooded in, humanity's combined fleet, augmented by Nixian technology and human audacity, ready to defy the laws of physics themselves. As the first dimensional anomalies began to appear at the edge of the solar system, Diana felt a strange calm settle over her. The Vorax thought they were facing just another primitive species learning to walk between dimensions. Instead, they were about to face an enemy that had turned their greatest weapons into their greatest vulnerabilities. "All units, prepare for dimensional combat," Diana ordered, her voice steady. "Remember your training, trust your instincts, and show them why humanity has survived every apocalypse we've ever faced." The battle for Earth's reality was about to begin, and humanity was ready to prove that sometimes the best way to fight shadows was to become something they never saw coming. Reality itself trembled as the Vorax fleet emerged from dimensional rifts across the solar system. Their crystalline ships, each one a city-sized horror of geometric impossibilities, tore holes in the fabric of spacetime. At the helm of the defense station, Commander Diana Reyes watched as humanity's moment of truth arrived. "All units, execute Operation Lightbringer," she ordered, her voice carrying across quantum channels to every ship in Earth's combined fleet. "Remember your training. We're not just fighting for Earth, we're fighting for every reality they've destroyed." The Vorax's initial attack came exactly as Dr. Zhou's calculations predicted. Their ships attempted to create dimensional fractures around Earth's fleet, the same tactic that had consumed countless civilizations before. But this time, something different happened. "Now!" Diana commanded. Humanity's hybrid ships activated their dimensional inversion networks simultaneously. The Vorax's own rifts twisted back on themselves, their reality-shearing energy redirected through quantum bridges of human design. For the first time in their history of conquest, the Vorax faced their own weapons turned against them. Void Hunter Malachi's massive command ship erupted from a dimensional tear near Mars, its crystalline surface rippling with otherworldly energy. "Impossible," his thoughts boomed across all frequencies. "Your species is too young, too primitive to wield such power." Captain Elena Valdez, now commanding Earth's first dimensional strike force, brought her fleet into position. "That's humanity's secret," she transmitted back. "We don't care what's supposed to be impossible." The battle erupted across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Human pilots, trained on simulators that merged video game reflexes with quantum mechanics, executed maneuvers that the Vorax's billion-year-old tactical systems couldn't predict. Every attempt to fracture reality was met with countermeasures that shouldn't have existed. In the quantum labs beneath the lunar surface, Dr. Zhou and his team worked frantically to maintain the dimensional anchors. "The Vorax are adapting," he reported, watching as enemy ships began to shift their attack patterns. "They're learning from each failure." "Good," Diana responded, coordinating the defense fleet's movements. "So are we." High Observer Kethriel's form manifested on the defense station's bridge, their crystalline aspects reflecting the chaos of battle. In 12 dimensions of warfare, we've never seen anything like this. Humanity isn't just fighting, you're evolving your tactics in real time. The Vorax launched their second wave, this time targeting Earth's quantum bridges directly. But Ambassador Patel had prepared for this, working with the Nixians to create a redundant network of dimensional pathways. As each bridge came under attack, 2 more sprang into existence. Your resistance is futile, Void Hunter Malachi projected, his thoughts carrying the weight of countless conquered worlds. We are inevitable. We are entropy itself. No, Diana countered, watching as human ingenuity continued to defy Vorax expectations. You're just another challenge to overcome. And overcoming impossible challenges is what humanity does best. The turning point came when Elena's strike force executed the maneuver they dubbed the Phoenix Gambit. As Vorax ships entered dimensional transit, human vessels followed them into the space between realities. In that non-space where physics broke down, human pilots relied on pure instinct and determination, striking the Vorax at their most vulnerable. Multiple critical failures detected in Vorax fleet architecture, the defense station's AI reported. Their dimensional cohesion is destabilizing. They've never had to defend themselves in transdimensional space before. Diana allowed herself a grim smile. Push the advantage. All units, implement final phase of Operation Lightbringer. Earth's combined fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their hybrid technology singing in harmony with Nixian quantum matrices. The dimensional inversion network reached full power, and reality itself seemed to hold its breath. You don't understand what you're doing, Malachi projected, actual fear coloring his thoughts for the first time. The forces you're wielding could tear apart the dimensional barriers permanently. We understand perfectly, Diana responded. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our willingness to risk everything to protect what matters. The network activated, and thousands of quantum bridges opened simultaneously. The space between dimensions flooded with redirected energy from every Vorax attack, every reality-fracturing weapon they had unleashed. Their own power, transformed by human innovation and determination, became their undoing. Void Hunter Malachi's massive command ship was the first to fall, its crystalline structure shattering across multiple dimensions. The rest of the Vorax fleet, faced with weapons and tactics they had never imagined possible, began to retreat. For the first time in their long history of conquest, the devourers of realities knew defeat. As the dimensional rifts sealed and the quantum bridges stabilized, an unprecedented silence fell across the solar system. Humanity had not just survived, they had done what 12 dimensions of advanced civilizations had failed to do. High Observer Kethriel's thoughts reached out to all who had fought. Today, humanity has proven something we had long suspected. The greatest power in any reality isn't technology, or knowledge, or even the ability to shape dimensions. It's the courage to imagine a better future, and the determination to make it real. Diana looked out at Earth, beautiful and blue against the darkness of space. The planet had survived, but more than that, humanity had earned its place among the stars. They were no longer just the watched, they were now the watchers, the protectors, the ones who had turned shadow into light. Send word to Earth, she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of victory and responsibility. Tell them. Tell them that humanity just rewrote the rules of reality itself. And we're just getting started. As cleanup operations began and the hybrid fleet regrouped, Diana couldn't help but smile at the thought of what came next. Humanity had proved itself on the greatest possible stage, demonstrating that the impossible was just another word for something they hadn't done yet. The shadows had revealed their secrets, and humanity had turned them into light. The cosmos would never be the same, and neither would we.